only put up 279.1 points this whole entire season. There's 1, 2.
You know what's really frustrating is when you make a fantasy football video and it won't work. You know, I'm over here trying to press the pause button.
You've only given up 260 points, and there's only one.
It won't stop.
Two.
So,
Two
you know,
teams
fuck HP, okay? And I'm buying a Mac from here on out. So basically, I made a video, personally to you, Mr. Ponce, explaining the difference between standings and rankings. So, obviously that video is not going to work. GoPro's a bunch of piece of shit. And, you know, I have to do it like this, you know, off the beautiful iPhone. So, you know, I wanted to explain, not just to you, Brian, of course, I don't want to pick on you, even though I do want to just pick on you, but just to everyone, the difference between standings and rankings. So standings, it's basically your record, you know, whether you're 3-0, whether you're 1-2 or 2-1. You know, that's what your standings is. And if you're, you know, tied with someone else, like if you're 1-2 with 300 points and someone is 1-2 with, you know, I don't know, 150 points, that person with the 300 points is going to be, you know, in higher standing than the person with the 150 points. Now, rankings has very little to do with standings. When you're looking at rankings, you're not just looking at your standings. You're looking at, you know, how that person's team looks on paper, what the upside is of that person's team, how deep that person's team is, and what the potential basically is in the future for that person's team. So that's why I have you at number 5 this week in the 5th place for the rankings, Brian. Doesn't mean you can't be number 1. Doesn't mean that, you know, you're not going to keep going up in the rankings. You know, if you keep getting wins, if Marshawn Lynch comes back, you know, AJ Green keeps getting 80-yard touchdowns and throwing it in my face, you know, then, you know, what can I say? You'll probably be number 1 or number 2 in rankings for the rest of the season. You know, I don't know what type of hocus pocus you're pulling with the Baltimore Ravens, but for some reason they just all forgot, you know, how to tackle last week, and AJ Green somehow got away from 5 guys and got an 80-yard touchdown. I mean, I don't know what type of witchcraft you're pulling or what type of fucking Ouija boards you're using these days, dude, but that's just, you know, you can't, you know, if you're the Baltimore Ravens defense, you can't just let that happen, you know. So, yeah, but you beat me fair and square. I mean, I think we both knew going into Monday night with James Jones and Travis Kelce, he had my ass whipped, you know, because Devontae Adams is a little bitch, and James Jones, you know, he's a beast. You know, he's without a doubt going to be the top waiver wire pick of the year. I've said that since week 1. And, you know, props to you for picking him up and, you know, looking at the news and saying, hey, this guy's going to be good. So, you know, it's a beautiful day out here, and hope you guys are having a good one. You know, obviously Zach's number 1, you know, because he's got AP and Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how he got, you know, the number 1 quarterback and number 1 running back in the league. Yeah, that fucking pisses me off. And then he's got Mark Ingram, who's like a double-digit flirter. I mean, if he's not going to get 10 or 11 points or more every single week, he's going to get you 8 or 9. So, great RB2. And then, of course, you know, Jordan and Tyler Thompson's team looking great. I mean, with Bell back for Jordan and Arian Foster back for Tyler Thompson and potentially even Todd Gurley being good. Dude, those teams are just looking stellar. Looking deep, too. I mean, Tyler Thompson going heavy at wide receiver this year. I was actually laughing at him because he didn't have any running backs during the draft. But without a doubt, he's got the best group of wide receivers, I think, than any other team, and they're definitely carrying him so far this year. He's deep at quarterback as well, I believe, picking up Derek Carr and having Manning and, if I'm correct, Tannehill. So it's looking pretty strong. And while I have no life, I literally can tell you every player on everyone's team because I just roster bait everyone else's lineup besides my roster this year because, you know, C.J. Anderson can't get more than a yard per game, and, you know, the rest of my team's a bunch of shit. But